again because there was no comprehensive book about dealing with the physical side of maintaining sexual health. This book is for both the woman who never had a satisfying sex life and the woman who once had a good sex life but has been robbed of it by the ravages of menopause, surgery, pregnancy, cancer, medication, or other illness, and wants to reclaim that part of her life. If you are one of these women, know that you are not alone. One of the reasons I surveyed thousands of women about their sexual behaviors and attitudes, my Sex Ability Survey, was to be able to tell you what other women like you are thinking, doing, and experiencing. You will see answers to the survey throughout the book. My goal is to tackle these taboo topics that desperately need to be out in the open. I am going to give you the language, the knowledge, and yes, the permission to talk about your vagina, your orgasms, and your sexual concerns, not only with your partner, your husband, and your doctor, but also with yourself as you honestly explore what you need, what you want, and what brings you pleasure. My goal is to give you the tools and information about your sexual health that will empower you to take control. If you are looking for a quick, definitive solution to your particular sexual health issue, I can tell you right now that it's not always that simple. I have found that 4 things are essential to achieving sexual health and sexual pleasure, what I call sexability. 1. Motivation. You would not have bought this book if you were not motivated to take control of a situation that has been frustrating and distressful and may have created a problem in your relationship. 2. Sexabilitators. Chapters 5 through 8 will introduce you to many of the tools you will need to reclaim your sex life. The world of lubricants, moisturizers, and medications is complicated and often confusing. There are also an increasing number of devices and therapies that will facilitate your sexual health recovery, and I'll explain them to you. Sexual ergonomics is an exciting new field that addresses the physical mechanics of having sex. I call all of these helpers sexabilitators. 3. Sexabilitation. It's not enough to have the right tools. You need to know which of the tools to use, how to use the tools, and when to use those tools. You can have the best hammer and drill that money can buy, but you can't build a house unless you understand the basics of the foundation, why your foundation has crumbled, and how to put it together again. Once you understand how and why things went wrong, you can get into the specifics of how to rebuild. 4. Patience. I would love to give you an instant fix, and in many cases the fix can be pretty quick. But for the majority of women, the road to reclaiming fulfilling, enjoyable sexual health takes some time. If you broke your hip, you would not expect to go for a pain-free run the day after surgery. There would be months of healing, strengthening, and physical therapy. I can't promise that a bottle of lube is going to make your sex life amazing the first time you use it. If so, good for you. But in most cases, there is going to be more involved. How to navigate this book. The best way to use this book and get the best result is to read it from beginning to end, though you can certainly skip the discussions of specific situations that do not apply to you, such as the effects of cancer or diabetes on sexual health. You may say, "But my only problem is vaginal dryness. That is the only section I need to read." Well, you may think the only reason you are having painful intercourse is because of vaginal dryness, but you may also have a hypertonic pelvic floor or a vulvar dermatologic condition. You won't know that unless you read those sections so that you have the vocabulary to talk to your doctor. Not to mention that it's the rare person who has only one isolated sexual problem. Pain leads to decreased desire leads to lack of arousal, and so on. I think you get the idea why I think your best bet is to read the whole book. Besides, you don't want to miss the answers to my Sexability Survey, the responses from more than 3,000 men and women about their sexual practices and preferences that are sprinkled throughout the book. Still, for many of you, it may be useful to try to pinpoint which parts of the book are most relevant to you by taking